Now, I've been very transparent and made it very clear that I'm a huge fan of monthly paying dividend stocks and or ETFs, or stocks or ETFs that pay dividends on a monthly frequency. Now, although there's not really anything all that different about a stock or ETF that pays monthly versus quarterly, other than the fact that getting paid dividends a little bit quicker every single month not only helps with cash balance management, but especially if you're like me and looking to live off of dividends sometime in the future, getting paid dividends every single month is going to help you pay bills on time because let's be real here, there's not many bills that are paid on a quarterly basis. But along with that, someone recently asked me, out of all the different monthly paying, monthly frequency dividend stocks and ETFs across the entire market, which are a few of my favorites? And in this video specifically, we're going to go over 5 of my favorite monthly paying dividend stocks and ETFs across the entire market and currently in my portfolio as we speak. So if you're a dividend investor looking for some monthly paying dividend stocks or ETFs to potentially look into, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into the first one. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, like I said, every single one of these monthly paying dividend stocks and or ETFs are currently in my portfolio, and these are my top 5 favorite as of right now. The first one being ticker symbol Realty Income. I've talked about Realty Income ad nauseum at this point, and I've shared with you guys the fact that I'm very bullish on commercial real estate, especially the commercial real estate that Realty Income deals with. I think as of right now, Realty Income is still offering a potential buying opportunity for long-term investors, which is why basically every other day still at this point, I'm grabbing at least a share or two of Realty Income as we speak. Now, Realty Income, of course, does pay a dividend monthly with a current forward yield of around 5.6%. Realty Income also, like I said, has the potential to move up in price. In my opinion, in the next year or two, we could easily see Realty Income trading well above $70 per share. But because of Realty Income's 5 to 6% forward yield and the fact that Realty Income does pay a dividend monthly and has paid more and more in dividends historically, like for example, since I bought my first shares of Realty Income back in 2018-2019, I'm now getting paid several cents more per share per month, which has added up significantly considering as of right now, I own over 2,800 shares of Realty Income across my portfolios. I know over the last few years, Realty Income has been in a slump, and Realty Income definitely has some haters and some lovers, but Realty Income is still one of my favorites if I were to make a top 5 list. Another one of my favorite monthly payers, this is an ETF, the SPYI NEOS S&P 500 ETF. This is an ETF that is relatively new. It's only been trading since around August of 2022, but SPYI basically offers all my favorite things in income-focused covered call style ETFs and has had the performance to prove it. Now, SPYI's expense ratio is a little bit on the high end, but this ETF is actively managed and has been managed pretty well so far. And even though SPYI is currently trading right at the 52-week range high, I still am stacking up more shares of SPYI. And what's great about this is that every single share of SPYI that I've been grabbing, I'm more or less guaranteed, quote unquote, because nothing's guaranteed, but I'm more or less expecting around a 45 to 50 cent dividend ongoingly for the forward month payouts. Because if we look at SPYI's dividend payouts historically, this ETF has paid out just around 49 to 50 cents every single month on time since this ETF's inception. Now, this of course is not going to be an entire dedicated video into any of my favorite monthly payers, and I do have videos on all these on my channel, so make sure to subscribe and check those out. But as far as a high income generating ETF, honestly, as of right now, and of course my mind can change in the future, SPYI is one of my favorites across the entire market. Another monthly paying stock, one of my favorites, this has been one of my favorites for a while now, I'm talking about Main Street Capital, or ticker symbol MAIN. Now, Main Street Capital has been in my portfolio for several years now. It's a business development company that has performed amazing historically, especially over the last 1 year time frame. This single stock is up 31% as far as price return goes, not to mention the massive dividend that it also pays. Now, even though MAIN is still trading towards the upper end of the 52-week range along with mostly everything in the market as of right now, I still personally am grabbing a share of MAIN here and there, and I wish I would have grabbed a lot more Main Street Capital when I had the chance when it was trading in the high 30s or even the mid 40s. Now, Main Street Capital might be a little bit frothy, a little bit overvalued, even considering this used to be a high-yielding dividend stock in my portfolio. And now if you buy a share of MAIN, you're only going to receive around a 5.71% forward yield, which is still relatively high. But again, going off of Main Street Capital historically, there's been anywhere from 9% starting yield to 8% to 7% most of the time that you've been buying Main historically. But what's great about Main Street Capital is they seem to have a business model that's only growing larger and larger. And of course, depending on where you bought Main, you're probably up substantially as far as price return goes. But not only that, Main Street Capital does pay a dividend monthly and pays a ton of special dividends on top of that, which just gives investors like myself cash flow on top of cash flow on top of cash flow. If I were to have to go through my portfolio and pick out a favorite few that pay dividends monthly, Main Street Capital would most definitely make the top list. Another one of my favorite monthly payers, this is one of my best performing positions, especially for the higher income realm of things, is JEPQ, or the JPMorgan NASDAQ Equity Premium Income ETF. Now, JEPQ is up around 15.67% over the 1 year time frame. Year to date, up 12.04%, which is honestly unheard of, especially for an ETF, an income focused ETF, that's yielding trailing 12 months around 9%. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably already familiar with JEPQ. There's not really all that much to talk about, but even as of right now where JEPQ is trading, we're still seeing an 8.81% trailing 12-month dividend yield. And on top of that, if and when volatility re-enters the market, we are going to see some massive dividend payouts from JEPQ like we saw back in 2022. Now, JEPQ is an ETF that I've held for years. I own hundreds of shares across my portfolios. I haven't bought that much more JEPQ anytime as of recent, and that's just because it's basically trading at all-time highs every single time I check it. But JEPQ is still consistently on my watch list and one of my favorite monthly paying dividend ETFs across the entire market that I would consider relatively safe at that. Now, my last favorite, as of right now, favorite monthly paying dividend ETF is SVOL, or the Simplifi Volatility Premium ETF. Now, this ETF is relatively new and is actually down in the red on the max time frame, which we never want to see, especially for the higher income, higher dividend yielding assets, meaning stocks or ETFs. A lot of times there is massive decay when they pay out massive dividends. But on the 1 year time frame, SVOL is actually flat and has basically stabilized ever since about a year and a half ago. This is definitely sort of an alternative ETF that you should definitely look into. It's sort of confusing, and I would never make this ETF personally a large portion of my overall portfolio. It does have an expense ratio of 1.16%, but at least up until this point, SVOL, since I've owned it, I'm basically flat on it as far as price return goes, but the ETF is paying me around 30 cents per share per month, and across a few hundred shares, that's definitely starting to add up significantly. Now, like I said, across all the different ETFs and stocks we talked about, monthly payers in this video, this would probably be an ETF that I would keep as a smaller position across all the different stocks and ETFs. But as of right now, I have to be honest, I've been buying a ton of SVOL, trying to build up a sizable position. And at least so far, this ETF has been paying me dividends literally. So those are 5 of my current favorite either stocks or ETFs that pay dividends monthly. And I hope it goes without saying, never buy into a stock or ETF just because it pays a dividend monthly or just because it pays a dividend quarterly. There's lots of different things you need to look into when assessing if an investment is right for you, of course. But like I said, because my long-term goal, my longer-term goal at least, is to live off of dividends, use my dividend income to pay for things like bills, etc., having a ton of assets within the portfolio that do pay dividends monthly is going to probably come in handy, although I would consider myself pretty good with money and think I can manage my cash either way. But now lastly, most importantly, I want to hear from you guys down below. Out of all 5 of the stocks or ETFs that we talked about in this video that all pay dividends monthly, which is your number one favorite, or which one are you buying the most of as of right now? Let us know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.